Start the recording. Hello, today we are going to focus on healthy autonomy, and we are going to look at some attachment trauma that affects a lot of conscious entrepreneurs, and especially those who are in healing professions or in some kind of therapeutic relationship or helping others. The reason why it affects them a lot is that we as conscious entrepreneurs have this ability to merge with others and really feel, really empathize. Many of us are empaths, and for many it's also painful for a while until we get to the point where our own traumas are overcome, and then we can step in and out, and it doesn't have to be that painful anymore, and it doesn't have to be so overwhelming. So with this constellation, I would like to help us resolve at least some of the layers of this dynamic. And we were discussing a little bit how these stem from early childhood attachment trauma, especially when our mother or our parents are not able to be present with us. They are often entangled with some unresolved big traumas in the family, deceased people, losses of children, like miscarriages, abortions. And so, yeah, I would like to put it in one big constellation today, so that as conscious entrepreneurs, we can stay autonomous. We can learn to say no and recognize when we start, overly merging with others, or we are not able to keep our healthy autonomy. And it will serve us with clients, it will serve us with family members, it will serve us with friends, it will serve us at our work environment, where we often establish similar dynamics as in our family. So that way we can be free of this. Okay, so I will ask you guys to help me to set it up. I believe we need to definitely put in attachment trauma. And our mothers. But since you also wanted to look at partners and children and clients, I will put them in as well. Maybe not the colleagues this time, but because it will become too much. But I can put in mothers, I can put in our children, our clients, and our partners, because this is where it becomes the most intense. Okay. And then what we want is healthy, it's a healthy autonomy. Okay, let's see. Okay.
Klara?
Yes?
I wonder if it fits to put something related to our needs or connection to our own needs.
Okay.
Something along those lines.
Our own need. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, like what's needed. Okay. Our own needs. Good. So let's use the pink as us. Okay. Pink as us. Traumatize the attachment trauma. Let me use this one. And then our needs. I will put this one. Is it okay? Our needs, what's needed.
Sure.
Yes.
Our needs, what's needed. This is the attachment trauma. This is us. Oh my gosh, my stomach is squeezy already. Healthy autonomy. So I will have it as a result in the front here. You see it well? Okay. Yes, right? And then I will have mothers. Is yellow okay for mothers? Mothers, partners. I think orange for clients.
I was thinking red for clients.
Red for clients, okay.
Because of the trauma.
Okay. And then partners, orange. Couple, like
Yes.
couple relationships, all orange, okay. Okay, so this is the attachment trauma. This is what's needed. I think we need the representation for the merging. That's what we are doing it about, this merging with others. Should I use this one? Or is it too
That's
too
nice.
similar to the other one, or is it okay? Is it okay?
It's okay.
Okay. So the merging one.
There's something needed for like needs not being met.
What is it?
Needs not being met. It's like a reflection.
Well, that's kind of the pink one. Like what's needed. Yeah, the needs that we need. Yeah.
Okay.
Our needs. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, I think it's ready. All right. So, would a couple of you like to state the intention? Or even 3? I think there were at least 3 that this was important for them. Would you like to state the intention into the field?
Well, when it comes to clients, to release these trauma clients who are so needy that they actually trigger us into thinking that we can't leave the situation or leave them until they're fully healed for that moment.
Okay. So the clients that we tend to entangle ourselves with, or that there is, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Anyone else would like? Irina, would you like to say something? And Rita, maybe.
Yes, this is Arena. So my intention is to stay always connected to my needs and to recognize them and honor them, and be totally okay when I have to say no to the projects or the energies of the others. And yeah, that's it actually. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Rita, would you like to state yours?
Yes, is to stay in my yes, my energy, and well-being for all. I'm really reacting to the client attack because I'm that client. What really triggers me lately is people who use the technology of get into a person's pain and then leaving them screaming.
Oh, can you repeat that, dear? Because I didn't get it.
I one of the techniques that a lot of people are using to make sales right now is to get to a person's pain and then use their pain to make the sale.
Yes, yes.
And I don't, that's the one when I think of the needy client, I think of where is the place that the energy went to make that client so needy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So again, I want to have clarity and support for each person's yes, for each person's autonomy.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Very good. Okay. So I will start.
Just to add to that, so the idea around using other people's pain to get the sale, there might be like a more holistic way of, identifying that there is pain in this person's life and that they need some sort of support. And no matter how the conversation goes, that you've actually given them their next step, and it doesn't necessarily lead to your next sale, but it leads to their next step. And it's a very supportive conversation, so they just know what they need to do, and it doesn't. And the ideal clients will manifest no matter what, and yeah, and then you just don't know where that's going to come from, but it's
yeah, it's yeah, I hope that this will show us, how much I agree, like it's important that we speak about those pains, because that's really what we want to help them with, right? But it's also important not to use it in a manipulative way, right? And not to leave them open. Yeah, let's see if we get that clarity. I would like to hear afterwards if you guys get some insights.
I'd like to add my intention, if that's okay.
Wonderful. Yes, please.
So my intention is just to heal my own traumas so that I don't create and attract these situations into my life. Almost, I think of it as filling in the holes.
Yes, great. Yeah, very good. Thank you. See, this is why it's so powerful when we come together as a group. Why we can do so much.
And I see that all of this is like that we're going to be able to. My original intention was around marketing to our clients, and there's no fear that you're doing the wrong thing, because the right people are going to be attracted to it, and you're going to leave everyone empowered in by a conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Klara, I would like to add to it that the intention of me is not triggering the Christ or the if someone comes to rescue, the rescue complex, rather to trigger the client's self-responsibility, self-empowerment, and assertiveness and authenticity. You know what I mean? Because people are misplacing the responsibility onto me, i.e. the healer, rather than taking full responsibility for their own healing, because that will heal them.
It's very good. So I would actually like to add a healthy helping. This is the healthy helping. okay, where we do not entangle ourselves, where we also do not trigger. We know whom we can help, we know whom we cannot help, right? And we also do not manipulate, and we do not take over, like we don't jump into the rescuer role, all that, right? We do not entangle with the client.
Can I add something too?
Yes.
Actually, is it possible to make that green, Klara?
Sure, I can do it.
That would be great. Green really reflects health. I'd just like to add my intention is to, through this process, to fully heal my own wounds, because I think it's a collective. So thus creating more of a healthy non-attachment to invite other people's stuff, but to remain in a higher frequency of clarity, so that when they do come up with their things, it's just a clearing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. All right. Now I'm ready. Thank you so much for all your contribution. Okay. Oh, I will repeat again all the parts, so that I want to make sure I didn't forget. So this is us. This is the needs that are not being met, or that we would like to be met, have met. This is the trauma, attachment trauma. This is, now I forget. Does anyone remember?
Merging.
What is it?
Merging.
Oh, the merging, yeah, like this empathic merging and taking over. This is our mothers. This is our clients. I will put them here. And this is our partners. Oh, I didn't put children. Children are important too. The children, I will put white for children. Children. Okay, it's plenty of parts now. This is the healthy helping, without entangling ourselves with the clients, and also without manipulating them. You guys know, like one of the things is when we entangle ourselves with clients like that, and we become like a parent relationship. Like very often when therapists put themselves as better than the parents of the client, then you get like a eternal client, because they will start depending on you, and that's the most unhealthy relationship you can establish with a client. Okay, just wanted to say that. And then this is our healthy autonomy, where we can merge, but we can also step back, and we know who we are. We know how to say no to things. We know how to say yes. Okay. All right, I'm going to start now. So this is us. Us as the conscious entrepreneurs. Okay. I'm looking at the needs first. Let me turn off all the Facebook stuff. the need feels like I'm sorry, it's just noisy when people post. Okay, so this is interesting. So when I so what's overwhelming is this feeling of void. It's I have no, like, I'm one with everything, and I have no boundaries. Like, I have no limits as to my body, physical limits. And being this void, I don't know where I begin, where I start, and even though I have some awareness of different things, like I'm actually aware of so much, not just what's mine. I'm aware of everything, like what's going on outside in other people's, but also around them, even the nature, even, you know, like all the energies connected to what's going on outside, like the cars are moving or bird is flying. And it's millions of things like that going on constantly. And I wept a little bit because the need is to know who I am. Like, where do I begin and where do I end? Like, who am I? I can't determine those borders of me. Yeah, I'm crying now. It feels like I'm drowning in the ocean of everything, and I am nothing. Like, I am more everything than I myself, and it's overwhelming. And so I need the outside to validate who am I, to tell me, to look at me and let me know this is who you are, this is what you do. I need some kind of mirror. And feedback. Otherwise, I'm feeling like I'm drowning in it and I cannot hold on to anything. And at the same time, I know I am not drowning, so it's quite confusing too. It's like you're suspended in the air, and you're like, well, there's nothing holding me. I must be falling. But then you're like, but I am not. I'm still here. So I think that this is like where like being held makes such a huge difference. I never experienced it like this. This is why being held by someone, it like they touch you, so then you have you know now where you start and where you end, like you know where you are. And it's why being held is so wonderful, because now I'm a smaller part, and then I just start focusing, okay, what is going on just here, not everywhere. What is going on just for this one drop in the ocean? It's much more manageable than everything. It's too big. But it's also good to know that I can connect to anyone and any energy. If I put my focus there and then I allow it, I can merge with that. But being like constantly merging with everything and not knowing where I begin and where I start, that's very, it's not scary, it's, what is the feeling? It's overwhelming. It's, I also feel like I don't exist. When it's like that. And with that, I also don't matter. And now I'm having a pain in my stomach. Oh, okay, so now I'm crying a lot, connecting to the trauma. Oh, I need that tissue. Sorry, that is the part where I blow my nose. This is heavy now. So the reason, you know, it's not so easy to differentiate the feelings, I have to say, in this. So I think from the first one, what I got the most is like if someone holds me, it gives me those boundaries of what's me and what's outside. And it gives me understanding of my existence, who am I. When I looked at the trauma, it's being left alone. I think that's the biggest, it's very connected to this. It's but somehow it feels like one goes deeper into the overwhelm. I don't know, like when it was pink, so I was still kind of like connecting to everything, but it was not as deep. I don't know what that means. Just like being left alone and experiencing being alone and no one comes. It feels like one goes deeper. And it's this one actually is painful in the body. So I don't know where I'm going. Like, why am I going deeper? It's trying to find out the difference between the two. It is like this one is taking me towards some kind of pain. I think that's the feeling of the deeper, is because like I'm going somewhere, and as I'm going somewhere, it's almost like I'm traveling through time now. So here it was like with everything, the pink one. But when I go, when I look at the trauma, I'm connecting to some point in the time. And there is pain in my body when I do that. So I'm going to a certain event. It's like Googling the event, and now like you're searching for that event. And it hurts in my body, and I don't even know what the event is. I don't have access to that. I just feel like I'm going deep somewhere. But what I am noticing is a lot of pain in my body. And this fear that I'm going there alone. Yeah, I don't know if it's fear, like this aloneness, like I'm suffocating with that. And yeah, it is very, it's triggering a lot in my body. I don't know exactly if it's fear, because like right now I feel nausea, but but it's like nausea from overwhelm. It's a lot of emotions at the same time, so it's difficult for me to differentiate them exactly. And now I'm going into my head, and it's spinning, so that's the overwhelm. Okay. So somehow I'm overcoming that a little bit, and I'm coming back, but at the same time, I'm coming back and I'm transy. I'm in trance, but not as deep again. Like I'm back to more surface. So I'm present and I'm in trance. I don't know how that makes sense. Yeah, I'm present and I'm in trance because I connected to some things from the past, and they are definitely being carried now in my body. So I am back. All kind of digestive stuff, like all this. Oh, a lot of nausea, and I'm also sweating a lot. There's a lot of overwhelm. Feels like hot flash, almost like I have no control over it. I'm suffocating and I'm sweating. And I want to release, but it's very difficult. Like it's, yeah, it's not easy to release. So now when I look at the merging one, this merging with others, so if I focus on them, it helps me to get out of this like everything and being nothing. So it gives me some boundaries and some focus. So I'm not everything, which means I'm nothing. So I have the need to be held. Wow, I'm dizzy like crazy. So I can see the orange one, that would be the partners. And the most important need is to be held, to exchange energy as well. Oh, this is not partner, right? Oh yeah, it is his partner. Partners help me to be grounded. And I'm calming down. Yeah, when I'm standing on my partner stuff, when I'm focusing on them, I feel grounded. But I would also want to be held by them. So by their presence and me focusing on them, I have a function, like I exist because I'm doing something for them, and then in exchange I want to be seen. And it's not about like acknowledgement necessarily, but it's about showing me my boundaries, showing me who I am, showing me where I begin and where I end. So that mirroring is very, very important to me, because then I can feel the boundary of my body and I can be more grounded and more in my body. And it also makes me merge with my partner. So this is like my partner and I are one. So somehow if they merge with me, we are becoming one. And somehow, so I am helping them and they are mirroring back to me. Who am I? So I know of my talents and of my contributions, and I know where my body ends and starts. And then when we merge together, then I become much more present. I'm saying we merged together, but I didn't put them together. Do you notice? So it may be an illusion that we are merging together. It's just like me still being there. Huh. So that's interesting. So now I'm inside my partner and looking back at myself. And it's nice doing that somehow. So somehow through my partner, I can see how I am helping my clients. Like somehow they are able to tell me, hey, this is who you are for people. This is why they love you. This is how you are helping them. I don't understand how I am. Like I'm inside my partner now. So it's not just speaking for my partner. I am inside the partner. So trying to figure out what is it about. So when I am inside my partner, somehow I can look at myself more and how I am helping my clients. Yeah, I am merging with them. Oh. Totally merged with my partner. So now my partner also doesn't have a healthy autonomy, if this is possible. I didn't really see them much. I just merged with them, and so somehow I'm using them to look at the world outside. Like I'm more grounded, and I can look at the world outside better. Let's see. I'm looking at the green one now, which is the healthy helping, right? So I'm looking at that. Healthy helping, and probably healthy relating as well. I'm going to represent the healthy helping. Yeah, it's also happy helping, where we don't get miserable carrying other people's problems. So healthy, happy, helping. wants to merge with the autonomy. And it can step outside. So this one, how it feels like is I'm looking from above, but not from an arrogant point of view, but from having like this eagle's view. And also I'm in a neutral position. See, like I'm outside, not merged neither with those, neither with these. So I'm looking from the outside. I have this ability to stand outside in a neutral position, or meta position sometimes called. And I can see the child, I can see the client, I can see my mom. And then I see like this person is totally merged with everything. So let me look at that. So I will separate them, all these, so I can look at them from a neutral position. Okay. Okay, it goes underneath the one that is merging with everyone. And so it feels like a healthy merging with everyone, like feels more like being able to hold space for others. It's like this healthy empathy, like being able to empathize and hold space. And so it looks like I'm listening. So now it's mostly about the child. I am listening to them, and I let them express and tell me their experience, and I can imagine how it feels. I can even let myself feel it for a moment, or it's at a more subtle level. Like it's not so overwhelming. Like I can feel the quality of those feelings, but they are not overwhelming, and they don't take over me. So it's just to feel the quality, just to feel the taste of it. It's so much milder. It's like it's so dilute. So I know what they mean, but I don't go into that with them. I don't, and then I don't lose myself in it, where I'm so overwhelmed with everything around, right? I know where I start and where I end. I know where they start and end. And I also respect it's like when I become so overwhelmed with all those feelings, then it will also make them overwhelmed, because I'm merging with them, and it's like I'm making all of that even more intense. So if I can stay just like having a taste of that and stay in my energy and in my position, and I hold space for them, and they also, communicate their needs, and I only empathize with when they when they talk about the pains. So I only empathize, and it feels here like I only feel like the taste of it with them. And then the rest, I just allow them to be also the rest of it, not just that one quality. So it seems like when I was doing it before, like that one quality would overtake of everything. Like it would become everything. It would like color everything. So now I let the quality just to be a taste when they talk about that, but it doesn't color everything. It's just that one part. So I can see it is just that one part. It's not everything. So yeah, I can just kiss the kid and let them be in their own space. I don't have the need to merge. So how about the client? It's interesting because with the client, it's little stronger. So what I was saying, like there's only like this essence, this like taste, this quality. Here it's a little stronger. Let me see. So I will allow myself to step on the client for a moment. I actually see my mother underneath, I think. Let's see. So something about we have to become clear. We have to become clear what is projected because of our mother. So we have to be very clear about our relationship with our mother, or who is our mother. Because if I want to stay neutral and helpful, I need to be able to disentangle my mother from the client. Oh, this is so interesting. So I'm looking at my mother now. And I want to say, you're my mother and I am your child. And I can't help you. I'm crying a little bit. It is good. I feel smaller than my mom, and I feel that she is willing to embrace me. This is very healthy in constellations. So, you know, with this part, everyone needs to be gentle because it takes time for some people to be able to feel themselves smaller as their mom. Because if there was a lot of attachment trauma, very often the child feels bigger than the mother, and very often people do not want to bow in front of their parents, especially if the parents were abusive or neglecting. So this takes time to be able to be ready to surrender and acknowledge that the mom is big and we are small. And it needs to come naturally, like here. So it's not something that can be forced. But if you now have something like that, you know, where you feel like, oh, no way, I'm not smaller than my mom, you know, I just encourage you, you know, to do a little bit more work to naturally get to this position one day. It will help you disentangle. It's really in your own interest. It's like when we forgive others for us, not for them necessarily, but mostly for us to release ourselves. So here it became natural. So I hope that watching this will help you to get closer to the mother and to allow this movement to her, where she is bigger and I'm smaller, and I allow her to hug me. So I will stand on top of her to see. And so this can be very helpful with some clients, you know, to imagine your mother instead of the client, or in front of the client. Imagine your mother. And just imagine yourself becoming smaller if you can allow it, if you are at the point where you can do that. And allow your mother to be bigger. Yeah, this looks good. She can embrace me. And she can also stand strong. And so this will help then disentangle our mother from our client, so then we can see the client clearly. Let's see. So I put our mom actually out here. Let me see. So when I do that, so now when mom moves, I actually will put her behind me and see how that feels. Not quite ready to deal with the client yet, so let's see. So it feels like the energy wants to go here now. Here we go. So she's looking at the trauma. And I'm not going deep as I was before. I see that it is a trauma. I don't know. I want to put it underneath here now, which I don't know yet what that means. So we have healthy, helping, we have the autonomy, we have merging, which is now different, right? It's not overwhelming. It's the healthy kind of merging and empathizing. So now I'm putting the trauma, attachment trauma underneath. I don't know what it will do. Let's see. When I put the attachment trauma underneath, the next movement that wants to happen is to pick up the clients, put them on top of this now. I don't understand why is it talking like this. So we come on top of this. Do we? No, we don't. We come behind this. And then this comes here. Which is the need, the unmet need. Oh, okay, I get it now. So this is the unmet need. And so, let's see, is it my unmet need? Let's see. The unmet need, or the need. So somehow I'm giving it, or I'm leaving it with them. So let me see if it's my need or their need. I'm not sure yet. Oh, it's so kind of funny because now they give it back to me. So I want to give it to them and they give it back to me. And I want to give it to them and they give it back to me. Oh, I think what it was, at the very beginning, like the unmet need was especially the mirroring, like telling you, like helping you to find out who you are. And they are also mirroring back to us to help us to figure out who we are and what our existence is about. Almost is almost like that. So okay, so they're giving it back to me and then I give it to them. and then they're giving it back to me. So there's some kind of exchange of this. I mirror to them. Yeah, I can help them to decide like who, you know, like what are their boundaries, what was their trauma, what is the healthy way of helping others, how to gain their autonomy, how to be also able to be like intuitive and merging with things but without getting overwhelmed, right? So I'm helping them with all of that, and then they're giving me this mirroring back also, and they're satisfying my need that I have in knowing my boundaries and my abilities, my purpose, my talents, my creative potential. So interesting. Okay, let me do that. Let's see. How about the mothers? Where are they? We are standing behind the clients in a supportive position. So if we can bring the clients' mothers to, or if we can help the energies around clients to have their mother to be in a supportive position, that seems very stable here. So I see the clients with all of that. And so now I want to integrate all of that for me as well. So I help the clients. I want to integrate that for me as well, so that I can be in autonomy and in a healthy, helping position in relationship to everyone, right? So let's see. I bring the clients out. Then I have this here. And it seems that I'm exchanging that actually with everyone, with clients, with partners, with mom and children. Oh, now I need to see my mother behind the partner too for some reason. I don't know if it's my mother or their mother. Let's see. It's probably it's their mother. It's their mother, and I want to say I accept a partner the way you delivered him, or the way he is, and the way he is thanks to you, and I want to acknowledge the mothers for that. Yeah, it's really like I accept my partner the way he or she is, the way you delivered him or her. The healthy helping, the autonomy. The ability to merge or empathize. And knowing what my attachment traumas were, like having, like, this kind of feels like I know what they are, and I am working on them. Maybe I'm not perfect, but I am aware that I have them. And I am more able now to own them instead of like projecting them onto others. Like, I'm more aware of them, and I am, I know how important it is now, like how significant the attachment trauma is to work out and to be aware of it. And then this thing, you know, it's like, what I need is this exchange of, like, I will let you know, I will mirror to you who you are, and you will mirror back to me who I am. I will mirror to you who you are, and you will mirror back to me who I am. This one is a little bit different, which is interesting. Like, I'm not mirroring so much, like the need here seems to be more of holding children, holding them. And you know, guys, like, my kids are already 19 and 16, and I do find opportunities to hold them even as big, you know. And when I go home, I actually let my mom hold me too. So, you know, this doesn't mean it's just for little children. Like, there's something very, very healing in mother's embrace. So it seems like the holding of the children, like, no matter what they're going through, like, they're kind of like figuring things out. It's more important than mirroring back to them. That's new to me, actually. This is a new realization. So just being there and holding them is much more important. Or holding space for them to develop, to figure it out themselves, to go through the development. Yeah, for clients is mirror and get back. Partners, mirror and get back. But now, you know, some moms are standing behind our partners. So it's their moms, I believe. So I'm trying to figure out, where is my mom now? I will put them behind the client for a moment to see what happens there. So here I want to say, you know, to the mom of the clients, the way you delivered them, the way you deliver them is enough. And we can take over from here, or they can take over from here by learning the rest, or by healing the rest, or developing the rest, something like that, like learning more who they are. But the way you deliver them is enough. And we can take over from here. That's the sentence. We can take together now over from here, if they want to. So we have that. Let's see what happens if I put them behind me. It's a little uncomfortable. I'm fidgety. I'm fidgety and little tantrumy. Like I want to, like, don't touch me. It's not comfortable. I don't like to have them behind me. Like in front, like I can acknowledge them, but behind me, my own mother, I'm struggling. So let me see. I will turn around. Okay. Because I want to talk about this with them. I'm going to put my mother, her mother, her mother, her mother, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me put 7. 7 is always very, very healing. So my mother, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I want to bow down in front of them, especially in front of my mom, and ask for help and blessing so that I can overcome this attachment trauma. I'm realizing how significant that is, and how important it is for my healthy autonomy. So I'm asking that please bless me so that I can transform this, I can heal this, I can integrate this, so that, you know, I hold it in my heart, I am aware of it, but it doesn't control me, or it doesn't take over. It doesn't make me overwhelmed with everything. So please bless me. And so I'm giving it to my mother, where it started for me. And actually now she's giving it to her mother and saying, well, you know, I may have had even harsher attachment attachment experiences. So I give it to my mother, okay, or to grandma. Now grandma turns around and she's actually able to hug her mom as equals and looks at mom. So this would be our great grandma. So this is interesting. So grandma looks at great grandma. And this here is like on my heart, and it almost feels like a child. I don't know if it's inner child or if it's a child that was lost, but I'm holding this that looks like a child, and I'm holding my my mother, and I'm telling her, I feel your pain, and I love you, and I love this very much. And somehow these two want to show us, want to look at us and say, this started here. It started here. The attachment trauma started here. Oh, even with this one now. Let me see. Oh, wow. They are all connecting. Okay, so I have all these except our mom and except number 7. So number 7 is standing behind. And we are holding this one as if it was a little child. For whatever reasons, we were not able to hold this child. Maybe they had to work hard, or they were sick. I don't know what, all kind of scenarios, right? They had too many kids, so they couldn't hold everyone. But right now, this looks like a little child, and all of us are enjoying to hold it. And it also represents our attachment trauma. So in a way, is as if all of these women were joining to hold us, to hold this part and heal it. So I will let them do that. The interesting thing is that mom is outside of it. So it didn't start with mom. Never started with mom. I'm also looking a lot at the purple one, which is the part that is able to merge with everything, right? And to empathize. And I'm looking at it with a lot of love. and telling it like, I love you. You're so loving and so good. And we are now healing this part so that you can be telling it to the one on there, the light purple, so that you can be more free, like when you expand and when you contract, when you let yourself feel like it doesn't overwhelm you, so that your love and your ability to empathize doesn't overwhelm you. So we are taking care of this attachment trauma for you. We are holding it. We are holding the inner child of yours, the one that needed to be held and didn't get enough of that because our circumstances took over. So we are doing it now for you. And now that we did that, we return it with love. Like, remember that we love you, that we are there for you now. So when they do that, I am now looking at them. And I'm looking at my mom. And my mom kind of like seems separate and sad. And I'm like, why don't you also like get that healing? Like, you have to do it for yourself. I cannot do it for you. I did the ceremony. I got that blessing. Like, you should do it for yourself as well. Let me see how she feels about it. I'm a little bit weepy. And I'm very stubborn, just like I was before that. I wanted to stomp my feet and like, no, like, don't. I feel stubborn and I feel burning on my whole back from holding this cramp, not allowing my mother to touch me. So there's this burning here, neck and my back, and and I don't want to allow it. Oh my God. I'm burning now, like my face is burning now too. My eyes are burning probably from crying so much. So I am going to hold us. Let's see if that makes a difference. Yeah, I'm definitely hiding behind us. And separating myself from the rest of the women there. So then I just take the attachment trauma, because I saw the children and I was like, well, at least she's going to take care of her children if I wasn't able to do that. So I allow us to detach. And then I'm taking this one, this attachment trauma, and I'm coming here. Also that the inner child, so now what I'm realizing is the inner child, or the child that I saw, was the inner child of our mother. Because she holds it now and it's ready to go there. So I'm mostly connected now to the light gray one, which would be my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother. So great-grandmother seemed to play a very important role here in attachment trauma. Okay, so I want to speak especially to my great-grandmother and ask her to please bless me so that I can heal this trauma and I can heal my inner child. Let me see how she feels about that. She holds them both. And she's also said, like, she would have loved to see this little girl. There's like so much longing for knowing, getting to know the grandchildren, but even the great-grandchildren even more somehow, because they seem even tinier and of more light. Like maybe one is able to recognize more light. Look at the colors, how I chose them to. More light in those that come later. Like somehow one is harsher on those that are closer. But the ones that are a little further look more innocent. So I'm recognizing that right now, and I'm recognizing like how much pain I was transferring to those who were closer to me, to my daughter and my granddaughter. And then my granddaughter transferred it to her daughter, and then she transferred it over there. So it started somewhere here, even before, right? Like all this pain. Somehow there seems to be the misunderstanding that by transferring the pain or talking about it or being so attached to the pain, we are serving somehow. Like if we would not cause pain, somehow they wouldn't grow, or we wouldn't serve them properly. Like they need to learn how harsh life is, right? How hard life is, so that they can toughen up. So it's done in a good conscience, right? It's not done out of being abusive or mean. Yeah, so I'm holding it here. I probably had a really tough childhood here. A lot of unexpected accidents and traumas, much more than just not being held. Like much more coming from the outside world than not being held. Like we really went through a real survival and problems. So I'm going to try to keep it here. Let's see what happens, because right now I feel it here, that it belongs here. Let's see what happens if this feels complete when I do that. I'm sorry, I need to clean my nose one more time. Let's see. Yeah, I want grandma to hold my mom and her mom to hold my grandma, and then like this and like this and like that. And now I'm able to allow myself to be supported by them all at once. So if it's all at once, I am more allowing for them to hold me. Oh my gosh, yes. And so now I'm at the similar spot where I was at the beginning, where I had the need to know where my boundaries are and have some kind of support, because I was just suspended in the air and it was overwhelming because I was one with everything. When I have this foundation, I'm able to extend myself and feel more like empathy with different parts of the universe, or universal energies, right? Dynamics. Like I feel like I have my foundation, I have like a base, and from here I can go out and I can feel that, and I can come back to me. I know who I am. And I feel strong. And the pains are also releasing now, because I know they're coming from whatever happened in the past. But if I allow them to support me, then they all can take their parts that are causing me pains. And I don't have to go into that vortex of pain, the dark purple one, right? Which was the trauma. So now they can carry their own parts in it. So then I don't have to go into that trance and attach to all their pains or all their unfinished things which cause me pains. So this is very good, because I'm resting here a little bit, and now I feel I can get up. And so here I am. I have the healthy way. I help. I have the autonomy. And I can put the ability to merge here with them. I think I'm going to stand on top of it. So ability to merge and also foundation is with them. And if I can stand on top of the women that came before me, yeah, now I look at the clients and I feel like we can partner up. And I can help you with this to help you find out who you are and where your boundaries are, and help you also get close to your foundation so you can be strong and autonomous and independent, right? I feel now like very clear about my boundaries. Yeah, I feel very, very strong, and I feel more in my body now and more able to verbalize also, because I know now who I am more too. So it's easier for me to stand in this confidence and also to be more outspoken towards my clients and encouraging them to get that autonomy and confidence and a healing as well. I'm sorry. So this is kind of like what we all need and we are exchanging. Let me see with the partner. Yeah, the partner, you know, so the partner will also stand on the side, just like clients. Like it's very similar, except like them I allow also to help me at times, and I let go of I don't know, like I let myself be more vulnerable, and let them hold me at times, like give me some pleasures. With the client, I don't do that. Like it's different, like it's a different boundary, right? So this boundary, like I'm able to open and relax and allow some pleasure in too. But I'm also very clear here who I am, and we can walk together if they wish to, if it serves both of us. Let me see how they look at us. Yeah, so then they are also willing to give this to us, right? And they also receive it from us. So now we are not merged. So I put this here. Let me see the children one more time. Yeah, children still feel like they need to be held, mostly just held, and they will figure it out themselves. That's so interesting. That's kind of new for me. Okay, so I think I would like to leave it here. It feels aligned here. Yeah, this, I feel very strong, you guys. This is really nice. And it's very clear now where everyone goes. So here I'm allowing them to be like closer, right? Like I open my heart even more. Like I don't have to watch myself as much. With the client, I will watch myself a little, like it's more professional, right? So it's not like family. I don't have to merge with them to this degree. Okay, I think that's it. Let me check one more time on the client, how they like it. Yes, they like it. I feel now there is also money. They want to give me money, so I give them the pink one. Yeah, so that feels good now. All right. Oh my gosh. Here I am. Oof. Okay, what did you get? Who would like to speak? Sorry.
I don't mind starting. I think what hit me the most, the last part, was when you were standing on the client, and it became really clear that the client needs to know our boundaries. And maybe sometimes when we're in the spiritual world and helpers, we actually give off different communication around that. So I think us being really clear before we have a client meeting and setting that intention, and then that, I think, will put the client, it's sort of like, you know, when you're parenting, if the kids don't have structure and boundaries, they're going to go kind of like, wow. So I think that is really, that became really clear at the end. That's what we should respect for our clients. Instead of saying, oh, the client is doing this to us. You know what I mean? Because they're coming to us for that assistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Excellent. Really great.
Great. So regarding your intention, Vicky, how was that what you got? If you think of your intention that you set up.
Yeah, I was actually feeling into, because as you know, I'm sort of beginning to step forward. It's like I've been doing the work for many, many years, but usually as a volunteer, usually as a friend. So I think, so what I got from it was supporting myself. I think that's what came through, was like, you know, when you were like getting held a lot, I need to step forward and support myself. I need to hold myself. Yeah. So yes, thank you. I did.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. Who else would like to speak?
I can speak.
Yeah. Tell me.
This is very powerful. I fell asleep 5 minutes in.
Okay.
And yeah, I had to,
at
first I was leaning towards the wall here, and then I had to lie down on my floor. And woke up when you were doing all the mothers of the mothers of the mothers.
Okay.
And gained a lot of energy then.
Okay.
And that was very, there was a lot of clearing and I feel a lot lighter after that session.
Okay.
That's where I am now. I'm exhausted, but in a good way.
Okay, beautiful.
I thought it was interesting with I had a reaction in my ovaries when you were talking about all the women. So that's where I am.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It comes through the DNA.
Yep.
Yeah. I always, I was so impressed. Like I read somewhere that when we are a 5 months old fetus, we already have the eggs in the ovaries. So we are the eggs in the ovaries of our mom when she's a 5 months old fetus, her mom.
Wow.
Inside of her mom's womb. So all the traumas that grandma is going through, which she is taking on from great grandma, because it seems like great grandma was very significant here. So we already record them in the DNA.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, very interesting, huh?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, dear. Okay, who else would like to speak?
Hi, it's Sandy. I sort of had the same reaction. I was fine in the beginning. I was watching you, I was listening, but somehow or other, at some point my eyes closed, but I was still hearing you because I had my headphones in. So I was hearing everything that was going on, but honestly, I can't remember any of it except for when you got to the grandmother. So again, I think it's the DNA keeps coming back, and when I don't know the history of my mother's mother, but I know that my grandmother on my father's side had a thing with tobacco. And it was like her one, like, biggest pleasure was, and she would do the chewing tobacco, right? So it wasn't like she was smoking, but it was the chewing tobacco. And And I don't know, like I for a period of time I was always fascinated by marijuana. And then you know how you can usually find yourself attached to people who just come in and who open the door to that curiosity, and you experiment. So that's kind of what it was that I found people, or somehow they found me. And you know, I had this friend who was my roommate at the time, who had never experienced it either, but was very curious. So with this one other person, you know, and the thing is, it wasn't even just the smoking, but it was, how do you get? So it was even going to the park and seeing a drug dealer and learning how you buy them, right? So it was like the whole thing, the whole process. It was almost like the pleasure of the chewing tobacco, I think, on some level. Like, it was just a fascination, and there was something about the excitement in the getting of it, in the smoking of it, because it's illegal, right? And just all of it. And then I don't know, when you got to the great grandmother, like, I really don't know, like, the history of my grandmother's mother, so I can't really speak to it. But I'm just so fascinated, because it's always been my father's side that's really been strong in me. Like, not even like my mother in life has been very influencing, but
Yeah.
has
So how has that changed now after the constellation? Like, any of this shifted?
well, I don't feel addicted to it anymore. Like, I would say that, you know, there was always this desire to have it, even now, on some level, but now I don't feel like I want it
Okay, that's
anymore.
a nice shift.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a good shift. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
You were able to find out where it came from and then give it its place. That's so good. That's a lot that you figured out.
Yeah, it's so powerful what you do. So I thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you. Is it Kimberly that wants to speak?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. So something I'm really present to is that when you did the great grandmother, something I'm present to is that my parents, they, like, my mother has an attachment to her grandfather, which is my great grandfather, and she's never talked about her great grandmother. So I don't even know the story there. And then my dad as well, he's talked about his not being able to see his great grandfather, or sorry, his grandfather. That was like kind of like being a pawn in that relationship or whatever. That was like a punishment for the grandfather. And there was never any talk about his grandmother. So it was just like that great, like my great grandparents and mothers have never been really talked about.
Where are they from originally?
My dad's side of the family is German, and then my mom's side of the family is like Hungarian. So
okay, it's like me. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I have the same. We just always spoke mostly about grandfathers and never the grandmothers or great grandmothers.
Oh, weird. Okay.
It's so interesting.
There's something different there, but that's just like something written. So now we're acknowledging our great grandmother had this huge impact on that inner child of our mother that was never held, or like maybe they were, but never held and supported, and that was the missing in the mother, like in our mother being able to connect to us or connect to what we needed. And Yeah.
I don't know, like it's interesting. I know my grandma on my father's side, they had like huge fields, they had to work, and she had like on the fields, right? And then she had like 9 children. So you know, like how much time do you have to hold? Plus they went through 2 world wars, you know. So the men were not there, so they had to do all the work. So I don't know the great grandmothers before that, you know, they probably went through a lot of wars too.
Oh, for sure. Well, you know, the great grandmothers would have supported the whole family and been cooking all the dinners and lunches and breakfast and having babies on the side and then looking after all of them and
my
raising.
grandfather used to kick my grandmother. Like she wouldn't even sit at the table. She cooked for everyone and she only ate the scraps if something was left after 10.
Oh, wow. So it's like being like a slave to the family then or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah, she
too.
was
Yeah.
treated like that. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, there's all these stories that never have come out. Like really about our great
Yeah,
grandmothers.
yeah, they slowly seep out, you know, but yeah.
Yeah. And then and in that I was basically crying when the great grandmother is being acknowledged and was the one to do kind of like the holding of the daughter and kind of was the key to the healing of everything. So, and she was also supporting us
Yeah.
and allowing us to be who we are and there's just
And then imagine if they were like in these kind of conditions, like they're not that excited about more women being born because they think like, oh, you will be miserable. Even my mom cried every time she got a daughter. She cried because she was like, oh, you will be miserable. Yeah. So that probably still came from that time.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that the I think it's the Vietnamese culture still has that going on where one of my good friends she got into she got married and the expectation was that she was going to be the slave to the mother-in-law
Yeah.
the entire family and has to cook for them, clean for them, and finally that mother-in-law, that mother gets to have like a slave, gets to no, it doesn't have to land on her to do all that work because that was her position.
Yeah.
It was like
That happens a lot in Indian culture too. Yeah, and some
okay, yeah. So it's just and the mother-in-law was really mad at my friend because she actually didn't get into that system. She heard her husband married and then they separated from the whole family and just lived happily ever after and looked after their own kids and they're just like no, like don't even want to entertain that idea.
So some people are saying like it didn't start with me, but it stops with me, right? And so it's our generation is doing that more and more. We are going against those expected norms.
Yeah.
I was too. I was like, I moved away, I divorced. All of that is like unheard of for those generations, right? Like
you just bear
they
through
couldn't do it. They couldn't do it, and so yeah.
And that was another thing I got from the field was the idea that we're the ones doing the work for our whole family from the past, and then that's for the future, and no one else was like had like the time to do this work or something. Like there's something there.
We're dealing with survival, so we are dealing with the healing. So I'm kind of like curious what the next generations are going to be dealing, probably with the destruction that we caused by being so unconscious. So, so yes, like thanks to their fight for survival, we survived and we can do this now. So
exactly, yeah. So really how important this work is and how it is already impacting our families and that's why they're being set up powerfully now. Like my sister, my brother are being set up very powerfully, and there are no real big conflicts. And they're having kids now, and we've already cleared that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Perfect. No worries. No one has to worry about the past now. We can just keep going, building the future.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you,
Awesome.
Kimberly.
Thank you.
So much. Anyone else would like to talk? Stella.
Hey, I can go ahead.
Oh, Vera.
Interestingly, Kimberly, in my family, the fathers were or grandfathers were never talked about. They were really not around. They either died before the grandchildren were born, or they were just not known. So there's a balance out there. Like we all have the other side of the coin. Interesting thing is, Cindy, you know, that healing, she started to talk about the healing, the sound healing, and kind of like a dark stuff like the marijuana. And I was aware, or what I brought today was the curse, and I now see it as more like dark spirits. Last night I had a coffee martini, which I would never chose because late at night and whatever. But this morning, a friend of mine said, "Oh, this is what George Michael liked to drink." And I go, "Okay, that's interesting." And she told me all about the story where she went and all that. But she also has these idols. She idolizes people. She always talks about celebrities and all that. And so I thought, and when you brought up that smoking, you know what I mean? Like it's like as an idol, like something, oh, what am I gonna get, you know, out of whatever the situation. So I thought what came up was connection between being a manipulator and manipulating. Because when I looked at George Michael's chart, I sort of, now I looked at it and I thought, wow, he would have a manipulator kind of abilities. Not that anyone cannot, but there was an interesting connection from human design point of view that I've noticed. I did the reading, which I brought to the table yesterday about a friend of mine and this George Michael, and I'm looking at their human design and I'm seeing that they both have a gate of contribution activated. So I started to realize that these people really want to be heard. Whatever it is, it's a spirit, you know, whatever it is, and more as it's coming in, they just want to be acknowledged. And last night at dinner, our kids started to talk about ear infections they had in the past, which again, I'm thinking, oh, you know, Sonia or Sandy, that's hearing, sound healing, being aware, hearing other people, and we get ear infections. So I started to see, oh, the dark spirits, they want to come in, they want to be acknowledged for their contribution, whether they're positive or negative, you know, whatever it was. There was, and you triggered it, Klara, because she says contribution. That's during the thing, the contribution. And I go, okay, well, let me see what these two people, my friend that I was asking about, and this George Michael and the coffee, like, how does it all connect? And that's what I kind of got. So connecting and sound healing, and at the end it is about low or high awareness, you know, and our tensions. What can I get? Our agendas, or what can I give? But mainly, how can I teach it? And I think that was the key, you know, how we just don't give it away because then it's not valued. So how do we teach? And the boundaries, that was the outcome of my issue with my friend. It was like a personal boundary, and that's what it comes to. It's teaching people how to respect that. Excellent pieces. And final one, I don't heal anyone. I just help people to retrieve their pieces, and then they put the puzzle together. And that takes a lot of load off. And I love that last thing you said about receiving money. Yeah, awesome stuff. Thank you so much. A lot of things were like clicking. It wasn't as, I didn't get into that process you were doing. It was more like my own stuff, my own personal pieces
It's
were
like
clicking.
as you watch, like you get whatever you need to get out of it. That's the beauty about it. Also, when we speak, you know, like some people get the integration once someone else says something, like, oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, so it's beautiful. Thank you.
Mainly it's confirmations. It's like, oh, okay, I paid attention, you know, it was the marijuana, and it's like, sounds like it comes out of nowhere. And sound, oh, we were doing sound and she couldn't let go. And then you go, yeah, this is the same thing that I see.
For you, the whole life is already a constellation. So that's when you merge with the higher self, then everything that you experience part of it. Even before we did the constellation, you're already constellating.
Yeah, you already know what it is, and now you're getting clearer picture. Awesome. Yeah, that's what it was. Great. It was fun.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, Stella, now you can speak. Stella's turn. I saw you. You tried like
yeah.
Someone was faster.
Thank you very much. That was excellent as always. I did not connect to anything in the beginning. That's why I didn't say anything. Of the whole thing of what people were like, the issues that were coming up. It was like, okay. The thing with when the grandmothers were like lining up, that's when I got tired. It's like, I loved it. It was, I just felt, I still feel so good about something really came together there. I will rewatch it because I could feel how they lined up, so to speak, for me, especially where I'm at in my life right now. It was like, whoa. And to have that support in my back, that was amazing. I also got a lot triggered by your offer. So the possibility. So I'll see if that is something. I'll contact you about that. But that was like going on at the same time, and I could like feel the connection between the relationship thing with this, and then when the grandmothers came in, it was like, oh yeah. So thank you very much. I always love this work. You are amazing.
Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. Okay, anyone else would like to say something? There's Rita didn't speak yet, Sharon, Lisa, Roxanne.
I could speak. This is Arena.
Yes, Arena.
Wow, it's good that I was not the first one, because
it's good that you were not.
I think I would not have been able to speak. I've been feeling the intensity. The first one to give the feedback.
Oh, okay.
Because I've been feeling increasingly intense, especially actually after we finished, and with a lot of intensity and weight in my body, and a lot of vibration and emotions coming up.
Yeah.
And wow, basically everything we went through, it really resonated, and especially starting from the end, feeling how aligning all these women and them being held by their mothers, it was actually created my foundation and my understanding of my own boundaries and my own place and autonomy. This was incredibly strong for me as a realization, and I haven't processed it fully, but I feel there's really a lot for me actually in that. And I had a question about the great grandmother. So just to clarify, it's my our great grandmother, or our mother's great grandmother, because there's because I felt like it was the fourth one, right?
Let me check. So we had one. So mother, grandmother, great grandmother, great grandmother. You're right.
Okay.
Great grandmother.
The thing that I know about the great grandmother is that she died when my grandmother was 3 and her sister, they were 3. So actually there's a big disconnect beyond that point for us, and we don't know much actually about them, about those parents who died, and what was before them.
Yeah. So when people die early like that, it's always like entanglements with those who came before and also died in some kind of unfair or early ways, you know. Yeah.
Something which was very strong for me and uneasy is that it was the part when you were bowing in front of the mother, and this feeling of becoming smaller than her. And I do find this hard, especially that I see my mother's going to be 70 next year, and she's becoming incredibly less confident and small actually, and she's shy. So for me, but I can connect to her spirit, which is really great. But then in terms of her personality and how we live in the human plane, let's say, for me it's difficult to put myself completely into that position, because also I start to see myself much more as a caregiver to her now.
Yes.
And
yeah.
a supporter.
I will post something regarding that. I will post something from Hellinger regarding that. Yeah, because we do change. So we get a lot from our parents. And then when it's time and they become weak, we support them. Yeah, I will post something regarding that. That will be helpful. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
But in a way, you want to remember her as a support, like when she was there, like when you think of mother, like you want to see her when she was in her best, when she was there for you and when she was strong. Internally, that's what you want to remember the most.
Well, unfortunately, the way that it's been going on in the last years now, there's been a lot of confrontation and a lot of lack of support, actually. And I feel this is what has been dragging me back, because she was the one who actually was not supporting me in my path.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. So
this would be the most important for you to clear, if you want to do that this week.
Yes. I feel it.
Complimentary session this week only. Yeah, that would be very useful for you to find a way to see, the big picture, so then you can surrender to that. Because that's one of the biggest things, where if we cannot surrender to that dynamic, we have trouble receiving. We have trouble receiving money. We have trouble receiving support. We are always the ones who have to do everything, So I would love to help you to see it from a bigger picture, so that you can still, even though you are supportive of your mom now, you can still allow support from others and feel support.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Well, I could mention something else, but I wonder if there is actually time for this.
Well, we took a lot of time.
Yeah. So I let it be this way.
You can maybe write about it in the group.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, thank you so
very
much. Thank you. Anyone else would like to say anything before we go, so that you feel complete? It looks like we are complete. All right. If there's okay, Rita.
Hello. It was very emotional for me. I felt that every time you got emotional, I got emotional. Yes. And when you started going for the, feeling like everything and nothing, that's what I feel all the time.
Yeah.
And so I'm going, oh, I'm so sorry you're feeling that. I'm so sorry I put that on you.
No, we all have that potential, dear. We are all one. I can go into that too, right? So we all go through those stages. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And oh boy. So, and then when you started going to my mother's side and the grandmothers, I'm going, oh gosh, not the grandmothers again, because my mother's little child, that is a long story, and it just keeps going back on my mother's side. one thing after another. Mm-hmm. And again, the men weren't around because the men died early. Mm-hmm. So being the last child, not only did I have all my mother's garbage and all my grandmother's garbage, but my father also died when I was 13. And so I was the last child left at home, and so I got all of my mom's garbage. garbage.
Yes. Yes. So which is also treasure. Because working on that, you're more and more.
For all your energetic debris.
Yeah, it's both. It's both. It's
Yes.
treasure, right? Because behind each of this garbage, you know, yeah, one person's garbage is other person's treasure always, and so you can find how that garbage is a treasure, and that's what, you know, I think makes us stronger and more aware and more powerful as humans, and as not just humans, but the healers that we are, and the guides that we are, and all that, right? So definitely you have many abilities that many other people don't have, and it's thanks to that. So you only take as much garbage as you can take, and so I know that you can take it and you can transform it and you can make it all into treasures, and you are getting there. Come on, like you are, over these few months, like you are just becoming more and more autonomous and strong, even though you still struggle with a few things, but it's just because, you know, you came with more. So you just require a little bit more time to spend with that, and more self-love and allowing all of that. So you will be good, my dear. You are making quantum leaps through all of this. So was there any...
Well, I was surprised. I was surprised that during this, my son came in to where I'm working, and that didn't go well. Also didn't go bad either. I just let him be his own person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when he left, it felt like everything had resolved, and the constellation.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, very good. Did anything else shift for you though, like from the intention that you held?
What really was nice was the point at which the first section, which I thought was the children, and you were able to let that go, and then the next one you had the client and the mother piled on top, and I'm going, oh my God, how do I disengage the mother from the client? And then I realized I was putting myself in the place of the client and going, how do I disengage my mother from me?
Yeah.
And I finally gave up on that and said,
Great.
you know, that will happen. It's only disengaging my mother from the client.
Okay. Great.
And that seemed to have a real focus and a real calming influence.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. Beautiful. Wonderful. All right. So everyone complete? All right. Good job today. Thank you so much for your intentions, for bringing your wonderful energy and support to this, for your contributions, and may this work for many conscious entrepreneurs. All right. Lots of love. Bye-bye.